You're listening to Edge Radio TV. The views and opinions expressed in this program are that of the hosts or guests, and not the Edge Radio Network or its advertisers or affiliates.
Good afternoon and welcome to How You Livin on Edge Radio TV. I hope you guys had a great weekend. My name is Robin B. And hey, Dr. Kiva.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. So, wonderful weekend in hot Houston.
Oh, man. You know what? I hate cold weather, but I was already cussing by 11:30 on Saturday.
That was so funny. I had a discussion with someone who was from up north.
Okay.
And so he was saying, well, no, I can deal with the heat. I was like, but you're just moving here.
That's right.
I was like, give it some time. Yep. And like everybody, you're going to be like, man, it was cool. Now it's summer.
I'm telling you.
We have 2 seasons.
It's angry weather. It makes you so mad. We only have 2 seasons.
We only have 2 seasons.
Right. And I'm tired. I'm already sick of the heat, but I love the summer. I just don't know how to balance it.
In Houston, there is, because the temperature can get with a heat index of 100, 110 sometimes.
Easily.
And so it's just, But
it's been dry, so I'm happy.
It was like 90 degrees or
yesterday. Yep, it sure was. It's probably one day last week. It was probably in the 50s. So
exactly,
that's what we do.
We had a week of a winter storm.
We sure did.
But that really only lasts maybe 4 days.
You mean the freeze?
Yeah.
But we're still recovering.
No. But the temperature
and that was
only a week.
It. That was our winter.
Because by the end of the week we were wearing no jackets.
You ain't never lied. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Within a 2-week span, we went from below 17 to like 75 degrees. But
exactly.
That's the beauty of Houston. How was your weekend? You worked?
It was good. I worked. It's so funny because now we still take temperatures when people come in.
Okay.
And so
everybody's hot.
Yeah, somebody had a temperature of 102. I was like, we can't see you. Then they sit down for a minute. It drops it's like because it was so hot outside.
See, that's what I think about. A girlfriend of mine, she had to go in somewhere, and that's what it was. She was in it. She had no AC, so her temperature was high, and they would not let her in. But I've been speaking of that. I have been dying to know how it sounds like your second shot was no big deal.
It was no big deal. So the first shot was just more so tenderness at the actual place where they did it on my arm.
Okay.
The second one, it was my shoulder was a little more sore. And I felt more kind of joint pain. Okay. Just kind of generalized.
So
like, why do I feel stiff?
Maybe.
No, more stiffness. I feel stiffness in my joints.
Okay.
And so I just sat around the house that day
But you didn't get sick.
No, I ran that morning still. So I was like, is it because of my run or is it because of the shot?
I was very, very concerned. I was, but I shouldn't be because you're one of the healthiest people in the world.
No, but most of the people I know didn't.
That CMOS.
Yeah,
so that
I do
probably
CMOS.
Was a contributing factor.
I do CMOS daily.
Now, how do you do yours? My mom bought a jar of gel, I think.
I buy a jar, but it's easy to make.
Okay.
But the one that I'm doing now is from a local Whole Foods.
Sunshine?
Sunshine.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check them out. You know what? And I have not been able to bring some teas in, but I'm working on it. I'm going to get some teas in, and a couple of very cool. Speaking of teas, Sunshine, I definitely want them. And I was trying to find movable feast too. But one of the coolest things that happened this weekend is one of my favorite restaurants will now be carrying You Endure teas.
Well, congratulations!
Yay! That was very, in the way it happened is it's called Whiskey Cake. Have you ever heard of them?
I've seen it in my part of town.
The only place I would eat during COVID because they had outside seating.
Right.
They seem to be really responsible and their stuff is fresh.
Well, congratulations. That's
very
nice.
Much. So I just asked. I said, hey, I thought I was just going to display them. But they said, no, so we'll buy, they're buying like some of everything or some of
and see how
that goes. And then they want me to do their farmers market, which is, they have a farmers market outside the restaurant like once a month. So.
Well, that's interesting because before I went to school to be a chiro, I was in the liquor industry.
No, I didn't know that.
And so I worked for a company called Allied Demec.
Okay.
Basically, I was a rep for Cavassier, Stoley's, a lot of different brands.
Wow. Okay, the good stuff.
And so a lot of times when you go into those places, it's just about asking. Can you carry this? Because then they want to have products that can sell.
That's
so it's just more so going out and asking for the business.
And they almost always say yes, right?
Yeah. I mean, they might not reorder, but if it works, then they'll say, oh, okay, well, we're going to keep this particular one.
And I'm sure if you were selling Cavassier, you did very well. Because I was a big fan back in the 90s, maybe the 80s.
Yeah,
I think the 80s.
Salsa, tequila, a bunch of different brands.
Yeah, the liquor always sells. And if you ever go in specs, that's what they do.
Exactly. So even the wine people, whenever they would go. So it's all about going to talk to the manager. So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
This is the start of many locations.
Absolutely. And we're playing. You know how they do with specs. We're going to do that at the alkaline water, where we already carry it at the alkaline water store. We're going to set up a table and give out samples that way.
Nice.
And I hate I didn't bring some samples in, because I meant to bring, I definitely wanted to bring some hormonal tea for our guests. Because that way, and I'm supposed to give you some too.
Right.
So I'm working on it. I
mean, because
worked till 12:30
we're having our
night.
holistic practitioner in today.
Yeah.
You don't think that she can offer some tea to her people?
That's what I'm saying. It was a no-brainer. I wanted to give her well, I still can, because I'm making an appointment with her. I can't wait to get my reading. I can't wait. I'm sure she's going to have lots of information for me on what I should and should not be doing. So I'm looking forward to that. But
she's going to make you a vegan.
She's going to make me a vegetarian. Making me a vegan is going to be a task and a half. I'll pay to see that.
A pescatarian.
Because I enjoy eggs.
Okay.
I could do pescatarian. Actually, Jeff cooked fish last night, and it was very.
Did you see that documentary on Netflix?
Which one?
What's it called? Seaspiracy?
I refuse to watch it because I'm sure it's going to turn me off. That's why I haven't eaten tilapia in like 3 years.
I would say the real thing is talking more about commercial fishing and how it's killing the environment.
Yes.
How it's killing, so they'll have the big net,
right,
and they'll catch seals, dolphins, sharks,
everything,
and then what they do is just throw them back in. Exactly. Right. So it's not if you just have someone who's out fishing themselves, it's the commercial fishing.
It's the industry that really...
So what do you think about global warming? Do you think that's a thing?
Oh, absolutely. I really do. And I really do you know what's so funny that you say that? Something as simple as saving your recyclables, okay? Fortunately, in my neighborhood, we could do that. When I see how much just the two of us, I mean, every day we're emptying our recycle bin like this big. So that tells you there is something to, I believe in that. I believe in saving the planet. I believe in what we're doing is a lot of damage, The carbon footprint is very ugly. So, I'm a big fan.
I mean, because we're supposed to be good stewards of the earth.
And we are not.
And we are not.
We are not.
We are not.
We are really criminals of...
It's interesting because when you look at yoga, we talk a lot about karma.
Okay.
And karma it's almost like if you believe that you're a spirit.
Absolutely.
And whatever you do in this lifetime, you'll see it come back at your...
Absolutely.
On your spirit. Mm-hmm. So it's also, you have to say that if we're not good stewards of the earth, what does that karma look like? And if we are, what does that karma look like?
So I'm hoping they can pick out the ones who are doing their best to preserve the environment.
Right.
And those who are doing a bad job of it.
So if you can't tell, we're going to have Miss Alicia Jackson with us again today. Yeah. She was so good that first time we had to bring her back. Yeah. And we're going to talk a lot about just what it means to be a human being with astrology and health, and probably we're going to talk about a little karma too.
I hope so.
And see how that comes back, because she's a doula and everything else.
Yeah, that's right. We did a lot of doula discussion. She has a saying that suffering is an option. I'm dying to hear how that works. A lot of people who are suffering could use some of that advice.
They have the option.
Yeah.
So join us as we take a little short break so we can have our holistic practitioner, Alicia Jackson.
Be right back.
Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky? Are you living? Are you living? Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky?
what I want to do. We're talking about EMFs, which are electromagnetic fields.
Mm-hmm.
Those are man-made frequencies from our cell phones, microwaves, etc. Okay. Well, this is the way I feel. First of all, scalar energy was not invented; it was discovered. It's in the environment, just like we have gravity. Okay, gravity is part of what makes this Earth function. So is scalar energy and negative ions. Okay. Yeah. Well, so what I take this, and I'm putting this wristband right here on your drink. Okay. And I just want to stir this around in there for a little bit. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I just want to take a sip. Okay, you got a sip? Put your arms back out. Lift your leg and resist me.
What? Oh my God, this is real, y'all.
Okay, so when I mentioned we were talking about doing ingestibles, now grab your cell phone.
Superwoman.
Open it. Unlock your phone.
Okay.
There we go. Put it to your head. Put it down. Put your arms back out. Lift your leg. Resist me.
This is ridiculous.
Your phone took it away.
Right. So the EMFs of the phone take that right away. Okay. And so
And welcome back to How You Living on Edge Radio Network. So today we have our holistic practitioner, Alicia Jackson.
Back by popular demand. Yay!
Yay! I had so much fun the last time that I was here.
Thank you for coming back.
Yes.
We had a million questions for you, and we only got to 500,000, so we got a little ways to
So,
go.
Okay.
So Miss Jackson is a Reiki yoga
therapist, yoga instructor,
doula,
end-of-life doula,
herbalist,
yes.
Oh, astrologer.
Yes.
Psychic.
Yes.
Okay.
Integrative nutritionist.
A nutritionist. Oh my goodness.
So what did we miss?
I think a mom.
Caretaker.
Mom.
Yes.
And two beautiful adult children.
And all over just a positive soul and spirit.
She's fire.
She's
I just do my best to do my best.
And you seem so calm with all those hats.
I am. I mean, I think it just comes down to you have to do it.
Right.
And so you can complain about it and make yourself miserable. And I do complain sometimes. Like, don't get me wrong. There are days when I'm just like over it.
Good.
But it's also about like understanding my limits and establishing clear boundaries, enforcing those boundaries when necessary, and then respecting boundaries that other people set for me.
That's great.
Do you think that when you are on task for your life, that also brings a calmness?
Yeah, definitely, because it gives you it helps you clear the emotional debris. Mm-hmm. Right, the emotional and mental debris that would usually attach to you, and it gives you an opportunity to have a spiritual, organized life plan.
That's
if that
very
makes sense.
good.
Well,
that's great. Organized is a word I'm always looking for.
Yeah, if you look at Taoism, you know how Tao they just believe you. It's like you live your life, and the story will be revealed as you just live your life, so you don't have attachments to it.
Yes, I love that.
But I think that if you know the direction you're going in, then that's an easier kind of spiritual path to have when you do have that. When you not
and
off
direction
task.
is interesting too because it changes.
So is that part of what the astrology does?
I think astrology is a great healing modality for you to have a blueprint
Okay.
about what are some areas of opportunity for you.
Wow.
Because astrology is very straightforward. It doesn't sugarcoat much of anything.
Right.
It definitely like, so for instance, my astrology report told me that I was a perfectionist.
Okay.
And I remember having that conversation with my son and daughter, and I was all offended. Like, it says that I'm a perfectionist, and I just don't receive this.
Why would you say that?
Like, and then they looked at me and they were like, "Are you kidding?"
You don't see that?
Like, yeah,
Right.
like my son was like, "You used to make me sleep with sticky notes."
Wow.
With my alphabets on them and wake me up in the morning and be like, what is this word?
So they're probably the smartest kids around now.
But in logically, my personal logic at that time was like, I just didn't want dumb kids.
That's
like I
beautiful.
wanted my children to have a jump start on
That works.
on the
So
world.
the question I have is, what is the difference between horoscope, or it's the same thing as astrology? Because if I go pick up the
Right.
Sunday
Okay.
paper,
Right.
like, okay, here's my horoscope.
Mhm.
Right. So your horoscope is, okay, let me say it like this.
Is it more generalized than?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and a lot of times you're looking at the wrong thing. Your horoscope is more or less like your moon and your rising most of the time. It doesn't have much to do with your sun sign.
Right.
But what's important is that when you have, so your astrology report or your natal chart is your personal blueprint. So when
Okay.
you were born, the planets have a specific placement in the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Every planet relates to an emotion or an event,
Right.
Right.
and then you build off of that.
So what do you need in order to read somebody? You need the day, the time they were born, of
Mhm.
course the year.
Yeah.
Is that it?
No, I need the city and state that you were born in.
Really?
Yes, because it's longitude.
Oh my
there's
gosh.
a science.
So
to
it's
it.
very scientific.
It's very scientific.
And so what you were saying was, when you do it, there's certain, because there's like houses or something.
So you
or-
have 12 houses,
Right.
and each house represents a different
Sign.
part of your life. So like your first house is your house of self. It's
Mhm.
where your ego is.
Mhm.
And so depending on what planets you have in that house, you may be a person who's very egocentric or
Right.
very arrogant, and your lesson will be to learn to not be so self-absorbed.
Right.
To learn how to be a sharer.
Right.
The second house is the house of it's the house of,
Don't we won't do a
it's the
pop
house
quiz
of
on you.
possessions. It's
Okay.
the house. It's where Taurus is, and most Taurus people love to have like security.
Yeah.
They want to know that they have enough money in the
Mhm.
bank, that they have a house, that
Right.
they're not, because they'll get wonky
Uh-huh.
if they have to start worrying about money, because that's the house of possessions.
Right.
Mm.
Well, somebody like me, where I have Saturn in that house,
Mhm.
which Saturn is the slowest moving planet one of the slowest moving planets in the solar system,
Mhm.
it always meant that no matter how hard I worked or how many jobs that I had, it was going to take time before I actually had financial wealth.
Okay.
And so it's not even based, like you said, horoscope didn't tell you.
No, it's not going
half
to tell
of
you.
it.
Right.
No,
That's
that's just
great.
some fun.
So how long does the session last? Because I'm prepping for my session
For
with you.
a natal chart or
Yes.
just
Well, for the total reading.
Because I think what you have to get the information, then you
then
plug
I
in the
put,
information.
I
Okay.
comprise
Then you
the
meet.
report. So
Okay.
some of it is computer generated and some
Uh-huh.
of it is me. Right.
Okay.
So it could take me a couple of days to put that together.
Okay.
And then we'll sit down together and we'll have a session.
Okay.
I think it's 2 hours.
Okay.
And we'll
So
kind of
basically-
go page by page.
Okay. So we give you the information first.
Yes, because
Okay.
that's the only way I can
I
do
want
the
to see the
report.
process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when we're looking at our chart, we're looking at, like you said, different planets.
Yes.
And we're looking at, I guess, and that would be related to signs with the stars, like Aquarius or what have you.
Yes.
And what about elements? Because, I'm a Scorpio, and they
Okay.
always say I'm a water sign. But
Right.
does that play any role when you do a chart?
Oh, absolutely. So in every chart, you're going to either be more fire, more
Mhm.
water, more earth.
I'm sure I'm air.
And so people who
No,
are
you're
usually
fire.
air
Oh,
are
maybe
usually
combination.
usually-
Blowing a lot
Okay,
of
no,
hot wind.
no,
Is
you're
that
air.
what you're saying?
they're usually
I
all
told
over the
you.
place.
Yeah, she's
I
air.
tell you,
They,
sure
they
I'm
can
air.
talk a lot. They don't mind talking. They don't mind having conversations. They
Okay.
love to gossip.
Case closed.
They love a good
I don't know if
story.
I like to
I'm not a
gossip.
big gossiper.
But they do love a
Not that I
good,
know of.
juicy
I would like to. I like to hear good gossip.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah,
that's
like
only
they
human.
She might not give it away,
Right.
but she'll
They
love
like
to
to
hear
hear
it.
I
some
like
good.
to. Yes.
They like
yes.
to call you and say, "You will not believe."
Yeah, that's fun.
But
But I will not give bad news. I don't like sharing
Right.
bad news at
Okay,
all.
so
And I hate when people relish the idea
that
of giving
idea
bad
of
news.
giving bad news.
Yeah.
And so it plays a role. So that
Right. So a water sign in particular would probably, we look at them as people who
she
are more
goes with the
emotional.
flow.
Mhm.
Oh, I thought she goes
Yeah,
with the flow.
but they're very emotional people. They
Find
feel
it hard
things
to
very
believe.
deep. They feel things very deeply,
Yeah, I
even if
cried
they
at
don't
the
express
commercial.
it.
Oh, okay. That's right. You did tell me
Yeah,
that.
like even
Yeah.
if you don't express it outwardly, you feel
feel
very
it.
deeply. Water
Yeah.
has the tendency to cleanse you, or it can drown you and take you under.
Okay.
So like finding balance
Right,
in that.
water's
Your fire
powerful.
signs,
Yeah.
they are either burning everything down.
Uh-huh.
They don't know when to stop.
Uh-huh.
They're just
Right.
whoosh.
Yeah,
Right.
because with me personally, it's like I have to, when I feel my heart go to change the pace,
Mhm.
that's when I'm like, oh, okay, my emotions are
Getting the
Mhm.
best.
yeah. So then I'm like,
yeah.
oh, okay, my heart is changing. Let
Yeah.
me calm the heart down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you being a yoga instructor,
Mhm.
and we know about Ayurvedic medicine.
Yes.
So you know how with Ayurvedic medicine we base our doshas as far as how we eat. Like if you fire, you need maybe food that's
Right.
cooling.
Mhm.
Is it the same thing when you're looking at the chart? Does food play a role in that also?
Not necessarily in that way, but astrology will tell you based off of your sun sign what food you should avoid.
Mhm.
Like, so water signs should avoid alcohol.
Uh-huh.
It just doesn't mix well with their system.
Mhm.
Something about alcohol does not do well with water signs,
Yeah,
right?
I can't
had a
even
couple-
drink.
Right.
Yeah.
I had a couple of questions for
Yes.
you. I don't know how long it's going to take, but two things I want to ask because we're going to take a break in a minute.
Okay.
I would love to understand how your philosophy is that suffering is a choice or an option.
Okay.
I think that would be very
Okay.
important for people to hear. And I also want to understand how you blend Eastern and Western medicine.
Okay.
Okay, I think we're going to take a quick break because those might be a little lengthy.
Okay.
But I've been dying to know
Okay.
because
I'm on
inquiring
it.
minds.
And don't forget Mom's question too.
Oh,
'Cause
we were
she's
supposed to
already-
ask that
we
first.
have a
Thank
bunch
you.
of questions.
Mama,
because we
she's
need to
going to
first-
answer your
We
question.
need to first make sure we've done with all the astrology before we
Oh, do we
go
have
into
more?
another
Okay.
one.
Okay.
So we'll take a little short break. As you can tell, we might have to have her back a third
A
time.
third time.
So join us
On
when we
monthly.
learn more about everything.
We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky? Are you living? Are you living? Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky?
Hey y'all, I'm Robin B.
And I'm Dr. Kiva.
And we just want to know
How you living?
Join us every Monday
At noon Central Standard Time.
here on Edge Radio TV. Take care.
When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio. Because truth still matters. When people stop talking to each other, society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
And welcome back to How You Living on Edge Radio. So today we have our holistic therapist, Alicia Jackson.
Hello.
And so, of course, it's always during the break that we have interesting conversations. So we learned through the break that your astrology, you can have different types of charts. You can do a life planning chart, a relationship chart, probably any kind of different chart that you can do. And that a lot of the government, because it was even some
presidents. I know the Reagans did. And maybe as far as we know, it could be every president. They just don't publicize it. I mean, because there's some validity to it.
Because if you think about it, just really think about just even planting food and knowing when the moon is coming, and so all of that is part of this process.
Do you know what we do? And I'm sure you probably do. I take every crystal I own. Every time there's a full moon, I put it all out there. I say my prayers. I make it very intentional, and then I bring them in the next morning. You know, I'm a big fan of that.
The female energy is moon energy, and you know,
so and that's take care of all of it.
Exactly. We move the earth. We move that energy of the earth with the moon.
I'm a big believer in that.
So and the moon is very much moves water. So you may feel that you are more sensitive or hypersensitive during a full moon.
Oh, I cry all the time anyway. So.
It could be a full moon all day for Miss Thing. But I tell you, I like full moons. You know, some people used to get nervous when there's a full moon because crazy stuff happens.
That's where lunatic comes from. It makes me
feel good. Lunatic, you're lunatic, You're acting loony and all that stuff. I totally
Yeah, but if you think about history, it's just they always try to put that on women anyway, saying that we are hysteric and try to do all kind of different therapies.
But you can put it in perspective. So Luna means moon. Right. Our bodies are comprised of 70% water. The moon moves the current in the ocean. Right. So we can't be far removed from it that if we're not hydrated, you know what I mean? If the moon is, so if you're hydrated in full moon energy, you'll have a wonderful experience because you're able to get the current going. You know what I mean? So we are so tied to nature, but so far removed from it that when people say things, oh, she's crazy. So we don't look to nature to see what's going on before we call someone crazy. So even people with mental illnesses, those people are not necessarily crazy. There are some imbalances due to environment as to why they're behaving the way that they're behaving. And I think there just needs to be more grace in that space of mental illness.
You know what's interesting that people have to, even if you are Christian and that's what you want to call whatever you follow, if you believe that we are created from the earth, why wouldn't you think that we would be affected by what goes on in the earth? You know, if you said
you're far removed from,
you know,
because it's a very effective way to control how people live and think.
Absolutely.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. And so, I mean, surely we won't get too deep into religion, right? Because we don't want to step on anyone's toes. But I always tell people, you will find yourself in nature. It's just as simple. If you're feeling anxious, take off your shoes and go stand in the grass.
I just said something
I'm saying,
about
even though with religion, if you believe that you are created from the earth, that God, you know, created you and blew breath, and why wouldn't you think that would be another way that you can get grounded if we came from earth.
The earth.
Right.
And I think that it's just,
Then we back.
need to feel safer about having these types of conversations
Right.
so people can have that notion and say, you know what, that does make sense.
Because you could be both.
Yeah.
Some people believe if you're Christian, you can't believe in other things.
Right.
Like putting your crystals up. You know,
But I'm just
Or
saying,
having
even if
them at
you-
all.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or
They're like,
having
you're
them at
not
all.
relying on, that has nothing to
But
do
when
with,
you're-
one
when
has
you're reading
nothing
the
to do with the
text-
other.
Yeah, but I'm talking about just reading the Bible.
When you're
yeah,
reading
going
the
straight from
text,
the Bible
a lot
and
of the
that's
buildings
Genesis.
were made with rose quartz or
Absolutely.
jasper.
All of this is from the
or
earth.
onyx,
Right, it's all
or
from the earth.
in battlefields and fights, their breastplates and their helmets had blue lapis
Absolutely.
and so on and so
And
forth.
once again, it's from the earth.
Right.
We're from the earth.
And
That's
so I think that having platforms like this,
Yes.
we give people an opportunity to trigger their thinking
For sure.
and like expand their force field vision. Like whatever their field of vision is, we're giving them the opportunity right now to be able to do that.
To go
Because
earthing.
And to look a
it's
little deeper.
apparent that
Yeah.
we're doing this from a place of love.
Of
so
course.
we're a
Right.
trusted source. So we're doing it right now.
That's good. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Now back to suffering. There are a lot of people who are suffering and they believe they have no control
That's
over
because
that.
they don't want to take off their shoes and go walk in the
Right,
dirt.
and that
They don't want to go get grounded, Robin.
I literally posted something about that this weekend
What did
on
you
my
post,
social
Robin?
media.
What did you post?
I posted, and I could find it, and it was one of the most well-received posts I've had, actually. I took a picture when I went out my house because sometimes I have to remind myself.
Okay.
So I went out and just went for a walk, and the first thing I saw, I have live in a very tree-lined street. It was the most beautiful vision I ever saw.
Okay.
So I took a picture of it, and I
Okay.
said, you know what? I walked down the street, I listened to the birds chirping, I watched some of the blooms are already coming out immediately after a freeze. And it reminded me that the best gifts are free. They're what God gave us. If you just take a minute, breathe in the air
It's
that the
all here
universe
for
gives you,
you.
that prana will bless you better than any man-made medicine.
Did you hug the tree though?
I did not get to hug a tree
Oh,
because
man, you gotta hug
we
the
have
tree.
we got a whole lot of we have the most bizarre situation. There's a lot of storks that are nesting. So there's poop everywhere. So I'm dodging. I'm dodging poop all over the place.
You said storks?
Storks. Amazing. It is the
Really?
crazy. I can show you. It's the craziest experience.
Wow.
It's a very weird phenomenon that you look up and you see big white storks sitting on their nests all up and down the street, and the street is covered in white poop.
So can't hug
It is
the tree.
weird.
no
You can't
tree
hug a
hugging.
tree
No
unless you
hugging
don't
trees.
mind getting a shampoo.
Yeah.
So anyway, that made me feel like a brand new person. Okay.
Good.
So I definitely respect
So-
that idea.
So your question regarding suffering.
Yeah, you said it's an option.
Did I say it was an option?
Oh, maybe. Well, I saw that somewhere.
Suffering.
Or
suffering
maybe you said
causes
it.
resistance causes suffering.
Okay.
I think is what I
So
said.
people can control how they feel, and
I think they can definitely manage
okay.
those emotions
Okay.
because if you strip down the problem,
Uh-huh.
all your emotions,
Right.
just like your emotions and your feelings aren't going to get you paid, they're not
Right.
going to add any money in your bank account.
totally agree.
Like they're just not going to, it's not going to happen that way. It's the same thing with your suffering.
Mhm.
The more that you put attention on complaining and focusing on lack,
Right.
right? Because if you have the option to complain,
Right.
then you have the option to express gratitude because you're not dead.
I practice and preach that all day
So,
long. It's all about
If you
perspective.
have- it's about
If you
perspective.
think you're doing bad, right from my window, I always say this, from the richest buildings downtown is a tent city. I said,
Right.
so if you're complaining about your car has no AC, hey,
Look-
these people don't even
look
have
outside.
shoes.
Now,
So it's all
but-
about perspective.
Now, I will say this, even perspective. So I had someone was saying that they knew someone who was homeless,
Okay.
Mhm.
but he was happy.
Yeah.
And so as soon as the family said, well,
Yes.
hey, we want you to
Yes.
come
They
in.
don't want to go
Yeah.
home.
He
He-
doesn't. He's happy where
Yeah,
he is.
I mean,
go
he
home.
couldn't survive.
Right. And that's
So
just an
it's all about
example. Yeah, it is
it's even
perspective.
perspective there
Because
also.
you know what? You carry peace around with you in your
Yes.
heart. So you can
It's not
create
physical.
a sanctuary in your home. But if
Absolutely.
you don't have peace in your heart, you're not going to be happy anyway, which is why emotional spending,
choice.
overeating,
It really can
like
be a
all
choice.
these things happen.
Mhm.
And then your blood pressure is high because you've been overeating.
Yeah.
Or just you're drinking too much alcohol and now you're having problems with your liver and so
Right.
on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Now you're suffering.
There you go.
You know, it's interesting because one of the Yoga Sutras, because the sutras are book or I guess it's ways that you live as far as yoga. So one of the sutras even talks about you can change your mind. Either you find something that does make you happy when you start to have those thoughts, or you change your mind to something that makes you happy, or you change your situation and walk away from something that's causing you unhappiness.
And I think that's probably the most. I think that's a good place to start, so that you can know how to do the other two that you just mentioned, because the other two are like, they're hard to wrap your head around.
Right.
But I think walking away is one of the most powerful things that you can do, especially if what's happening, those people involved are not listening to you. So if it's a job that you hate, why are you there?
Right. Now, if you don't have a choice, this is the other side.
You have a choice.
All right, well, here's the other side of that, okay, the way I look at it. If you feel like you can't, then you need to find a way to embrace it. And remember, that's just a job. That's not your life.
Right.
So it's all about perspective.
But you're creating your suffering by staying in that job.
Right. But some people may not feel like they have an option to leave that job because they got to support their children.
That's fear.
Okay. Well,
that's fear.
I hear you. But I'm saying if you're stuck in there, you have to change the way you're looking at it. Well, I'm happy wherever I am. All right.
But were you ever stuck? And
some people feel that way, and that was my point. Is they need to learn how to embrace their situation. Yeah,
or heal.
So they need to learn how.
Yeah, because you have to see if it's the person that possibly. Do you go through life with everything as a victim?
That's what I'm saying.
Are you able to say, well, I'm acting like a victim in this situation?
That is what I'm talking about.
My thought process.
Right. It's perspective.
Now some places you probably just need to leave because you're not going to grow.
Well, of course.
The point that I'm making is you always have the choice to leave and do something different. You are afraid because you've gotten comfortable.
It's fear. It is fear.
And your fear is running your life. So if it's running your life there, where else is it running it? If you have children that you need to take care of and you're too afraid to leave your job, you're teaching your children how to be afraid.
So how do you teach someone to, all right, we don't want to forget the question
what is that? It's a
we
saying,
still got questions to answer.
Says, the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Yep, I believe
in
that.
In that space,
exactly.
Yeah. Then that's how you're always living in that space.
That's what it's going to be.
So that would be a good topic for people who don't know how to break out of that fearful place.
And I've had clients who were in fear, hated their job, so on and so forth, and they wouldn't leave, and they finally left their jobs, and they're free.
I'm glad that you brought that up, though. So we're going to take a little short break.
We're going to answer some questions.
I want to really find out, like we say, about your clients.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone is coming to see you because you offer so many things, is it that they have? Do you give a whole plan on how they should do that? If they're like, well, I want to get out of this fear mindset, or I want to get healthy, or I want to.
You do an assessment.
You do an assessment.
Yeah, we do an assessment.
We want to find out more about the assessment. Yeah. So that way people can have an idea of what
how
to
get started. Yeah, that's a good question.
So we're going to take a little short break, and we're going to find out more about what an assessment looks like.
And we're going to answer my mother's question.
And we're going to answer my mother's question. So join us as we take a little short break.
What's the other part?
Be right back.
Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky? How you living? How you living? Are you living just to get by? Are you looking for some blue sky?
We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Aren't you tired of not getting what you want in bed?
Are you ready to spice things up behind those closed doors?
Woo! We're here for you every hump day at 7 p.m.
This is Sex on the Edge with Jen and Hen. I'm Jennifer Reeves.
And I'm Hendrik Scott, and we are professional licensed sex therapists.
So remember to watch us Wednesday at 7 p.m. on Edge Radio TV, just in time for sexy time.
It's a simple one.
Yeah. And welcome back to How You Living on Edge Radio Network. So Robin's question, or her mother's question that we must ask.
Yes.
Is it ever too late to do a shift and to enter into life differently?
Absolutely not. It's never too late to change.
And it's an easy
You would
process?
be surprised. Again, it goes back to the mind.
Okay.
You just have
Takes
to
a
make up
made-up
your mind.
Okay.
You make up your mind that you want to add some years to your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you make the necessary changes to do that.
Heard
And
that, Mom?
The beautiful thing is when people decide to do that, when it is time for them to transition, they have a different experience because their family is closer usually. They've cleared their grievances, and they feel stronger. I don't know how much energy it takes to make that journey, but I feel like you need to be a little bit lighter. And the lighter you are, the higher you can fly. So I feel like if you're doing the things to kind of like eliminate, then you'll have a better trip going home.
You know, that's like when people say, I'm gonna try, you know, you'll talk, you know what, I'm gonna try and do this. I'm gonna try. I'm like, well, why are you still trying?
I just listened to someone talk about, they said if anyone says I'm gonna try to make it, that's a no. That means they're not going to do it.
Well, not even that. It's like, I'm going to try not to talk like that. I'm going to try to watch the words. Exactly.
Right.
It takes a made-up mind.
Absolutely.
So say I'm like, okay, well, I've made up my mind. I'm going to do this shift in my life. I'm going to go see Miss Jackson because she's going to be able to tell me exactly where I can start. So, but I don't know what to do. I mean, should I come in and do Reiki? And what is Reiki? Should I do? I don't know where to start.
Right.
So how do you see someone who's coming in like that and they have no idea?
So typically people come in, they go, I know something's wrong. I don't know what, but I know I don't want to feel like this anymore.
Yes.
So what we'll typically do is we'll start with like a 30-minute phone consultation. I'll just let them talk about like, what is it? Like, why are you calling me? Like, that's what I want to know. And then from there, what I usually will do is say, okay, let's schedule an hour therapy session so that we can see if we're a good fit for each other. Because I also have to keep in mind, I'm not for everybody. And I'm okay with that. You know, like we talked before about
no ego.
Divorcing clients. And there have been clients that have divorced me. You know, we just weren't a good fit. So it's important for us to like have a conversation and dialogue. And then if they feel comfortable, and I'm assessing them on several levels. Like I can be doing a facial analysis while we're talking.
Wow.
I can be looking in their eyes and making an analysis and see, like, I can see the areas of opportunity for them. And from there, I will make a decision for them based off of, should we continue with therapy? Because see, I can talk about food.
Okay.
I can say, like, let's start looking at your diet to bring your blood pressure down, so on and so forth.
Right.
But if you're emotionally attached to food, I have to start you in therapy.
Right. So do you do typical therapy, or you're?
No, it's
I mean,
not
can
clinical.
someone come? Okay, so
It's not
it's not clinical, but it's probably a lot more effective, or can be very effective.
I think it's
because it
effective,
reaches.
and you know, Eastern and Western medicine, they have a responsibility to each other. So I think Western medicine is important clinically for some people.
That was that was another
Eastern,
question I had.
I got you.
Yeah,
Eastern medicine is important for some people, depending on what's happening in a person's life. So if a person they need to be on suicide watch, you need to go clinical.
Yes.
That's not something that I'm willing to carry through, you know, because I can't watch you for 24 hours. You need to be on watch. And so, but if you're a person that's dealing with depression and you've had suicidal thoughts, well, I can work with that.
That's great.
You know, because I'm not far removed from what people bring to me.
Okay.
I've experienced some of the same things, if not a lot of them, which is why they're guided to me to begin with.
That's right. So food has a lot to do with your frame of mind, your emotional state, and everything, right? People need to understand that. There's food that's electric.
There are foods that are electric, and there are foods that are just completely dead. So, for instance, I have a family member.
It's like, that's a dead plate.
I have a family member who suffers from bipolar disorder. Okay. And whenever there's about to be a manic episode, there are specific foods that person starts craving.
Wow.
Pepsi.
Wow.
Cup of noodles.
Okay.
And Fritos.
All dead
Cheetos.
Foods. All bad.
Cheetos.
Yeah.
All dead, high sugar, high salt.
So that's like
sodium.
your red alert. You're like, okay, code
red.
red.
As soon as it happens, I'm like, we need to go get a lithium level checked.
Wow.
Because
or even like you said, with females who are getting ready to start their cycle.
Right.
It's like,
start craving.
Right. They want to eat all that salt.
Yeah. There's like actual chemical imbalance, and you have to jump on top of it.
So can you give an example of electric food? Is that anything that's from the ground? Would that be
anything
all fruit
grown
and vegetable?
outside, powered by the sun? All of when you walk in the produce department, that is all electric food.
Okay.
When you leave the produce department, you're probably not going to get electric food unless it's been frozen.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because sometimes you can't get fresh, so it's best to at least get
frozen veggies.
Right. And be realistic with yourself. Like, so one of the things that people tend to do is like they want to change their diet and they need to go shopping for their diet.
Yes.
Well, they'll shop the way that they're accustomed to shopping, and then everything goes bad before they can eat it. Right?
Yeah. Right.
Really, when you're eating a certain way, you're gonna go to the grocery store 3 times a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're buying fresh.
I spend way too much time at the grocery store.
So that's how.
But I agree with you. You want, because you're in that state. So I'll go and I'll buy like pretty much anything in the produce, but I don't get to it all. And so that's it's too simple to waste. You know, it's so
blend it up, or you can freeze
it. Can you freeze anything?
Yeah,
I mean, like like red peppers and cucumbers. I didn't know you could.
I mean, if you go to the
that
frozen
changes
section,
the composition a little bit.
And you can put a good green smoothie is adding cucumbers.
Okay,
I'll throw that in there with some spinach.
Yummy. And so at the farmer's market, I did buy some fresh cucumbers because I know my sister told me that, not to get too far off, that cucumber and ginger combined, you make a drink out of that, and it's great for cataracts. Have you ever heard of that?
I have not.
Okay, so Chinese medicine.
Now, here's the question I do have for you, because we're going to get show on time.
Low.
What are your thoughts on buying foods that usually are not seasonal, that all of a sudden are?
I can't stand a watermelon out of season.
And I love watermelon.
I love it.
But you know how
and
it's
strawberries too.
But you know, you're like, well, normally back in the day, before global warming, we didn't have this particular fruit, but now all of a sudden we have it year long. So what suggestions would you give someone to know when is a real good time to really purchase?
So you kind of think about it like this.
Farmer's Almanac.
When you Farmer's Almanac, that's a good, but you can also just look to nature.
Right.
If everything outside your window is not blooming and blossoming, then it's not time to eat foods that are blooming and blossoming in the produce department. It just doesn't make sense.
That's good.
And so when you start eating in season, your body starts. So like now, my body is so excited because the berries are back.
Oh,
the melons are about to be back this summer.
I got a bunch of berries.
And then when fall comes, I'm not even craving that stuff.
So you're doing pumpkin
and
squash.
It's like your body is almost like, okay, it's time to hibernate. And so it's
already everything you ever needed was already here on a cycle for you, and you just have to follow nature. I think one of the biggest of the mistakes that we continue to make is that we feel like we have the right to tamper with nature, and we don't.
No, we don't.
We don't.
Right.
And then we wonder why we have so many diseases when our fruits and vegetables don't even have the minerals.
Yeah, they don't have the minerals because the soil is not well, and we're growing food at times when we shouldn't be growing it. Like, it's just because of the money that comes into the industry. So now with the whole vegan craze, right? Like, so everybody's vegan now. And I don't know if I said this the last time, but I said it somewhere. In 3 to 5 years, we're going to have people who are vegan, who are going to be diabetic, they're going to have high blood pressure, and they are going to say, being vegan made me sick.
And it's GMOs. It's probably a lot of...
It's also what you substitute, because as soon as you become vegan, people think, well, French fries and potatoes,
processed meats, and
I mean, there are overweight vegans out there. I mean, you know, so you can't really say being vegan doesn't equal healthy.
Right.
Okay.
And in all fairness, being vegan is not the best diet for everyone.
Absolutely.
So
now I would be because of my blood type. But it's true.
The reason I'm saying that is because you always take us down a road that we can travel down this road.
And it's time to go.
And it's always at the end.
So
guys,
it
is time.
So I think we're gonna make this a monthly situation.
So we're just gonna have to have her come back. Our holistic practitioner.
I feel like that goes by.
Our in-house.
It goes by so quickly. And so that means that if you guys really, you need to get assessed by Alicia, so that way she can kind of do your horoscope and this is a good time for us to do a shift. We're in the time of the Aquarius. So it's the
Aquarius
time for shift.
It's an air sign. Most people think it's water. It's an air sign.
Okay.
And it's very rebellious.
Oh. Maybe I should shut up.
It is a rebellious. So whenever I think Aquarius, I think Bob Marley.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Bob Marley.
Bob Marley shirt on.
Very much about
humanitarian,
being a humanitarian, making sure that, you know, justice is where it's supposed to be, so on and so forth.
Oh, that all sounds good.
Yeah. And
so
so
before
we're
we
being
leave,
held accountable
we need
now.
to make sure people can find you.
They need to have your contact information. So give us all your contact information.
So everything is Analog Earth Healing Hub. Period.
Yeah, that's all you got. If you Google Analog Earth Healing, the rest will pop up because I've tried it.
Analog Earth Healing,
and it's Hub with 2 B's.
Hub with 2 B's, and then there's a .com. Yeah. So you can book an appointment online on the .com.
After me.
But there's also Instagram and
Facebook.
There you go.
Yes.
So we're there. I even have a TikTok too, where I casually talk to people and things like that.
TikTok, you dance.
Good.
Holistic auntie advice.
I love it.
Because I love talking to young people.
Yeah,
that's good. Holistic auntie.
So we'll definitely let us know, guys, what other questions we can have Alicia so she can come back and
so
take us through
once a month.
Yeah, I think we've got a once a month. It's going to be Ask Alicia. That's going to be the segment we're having, okay?
Alicia, and we'll just show up.
Yeah.
No,
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
We
it's
appreciate
always
you.
a pleasure.
So we'll see you in May. Okay.
So,
and I'll see you sooner because you're going to do my
Alicia,
chart. Right?
What is your sign?
I am a Sagittarius sun.
Oh, my son's a Sagittarius.
And that is Sagittarius moon.
Very good.
Is that water?
A fire.
Real cheap.
I'm actually a triple fire sign.
Oh, you're a triple threat.
Okay.
So, but it mellows me. That's why I'm mellow, though.
Yeah, you are mellow.
So much.
You're very mellow.
Cool. So
but
I'm water, you're fire, and she's
I'm air. Look at that. And we get earth, wind, and fire.
We just need an earth in here.
Wait a minute, are we missing earth?
We're just missing earth.
Are you earth by any chance?
What's your sign, Vince?
Scorpio.
Water.
Okay, but we're all getting along.
Yeah, no.
Can we all get along?
Because
we need the nugget, though. Don't forget, we need to get
other elements.
And it's almost time to wrap.
So at the end, we always like to ask for our
a word of wisdom.
Drop the mic nugget.
It could be 3 words. Or,
okay. Do not suffer.
There you go.
Just don't. Make your mind up. Make a decision. Do what you know needs to be done, and handle your business. Resistance causes suffering. You don't have to suffer.
All right. Mic drop.
Don't
thank
suffer.
you, Alicia Jackson.
Thank
guys,
you so much
we
for
thank
having
you
me
for
again.
joining us. We will have her back as often as we need, so definitely post your questions.
With your questions.
Yeah, with your questions. All right,
Put
guys.
on my hat today.
We'll have a fabulous week, and in the meantime, we got to ask, as always, how you living?